My sister threatens to marry my ex-boyfriend if I don't give her my inheritance, but I choose to watch as she spirals and ruins her own life. My sister is an alcoholic. When we were young, we grew up with our grandma because Dad was too busy working. He was a single parent. Our mom passed away when I was 4 years old. I don't have many memories of her, except a few pictures. Now that we're all grown up, I'm trying to build a better relationship with my dad. He wasn't around much, but he did try his best to provide for all of us. Recently, my sister and I claimed our inheritance. Our grandma passed away 2 years ago, and she left everything to both of us. My sister and I were really close growing up, but our ways of coping with the loss of our grandmother were very different. Grandma was like a mother to her. She played the role of both parents. I took some time off work and started spending more time with my father. I asked my sister to join in too, but she usually declined. A month or two after our grandma passed, my sister informed me that she was going to take a trip. I asked her if she wanted me to come with her, but she said she needed some alone time, and I was fine with it. I understood that everybody had their own way of coping. When my sister came back, she was a different person. I couldn't recognize her. I didn't call her out on it. I tried connecting with her by asking to hang out, ordering takeout, or doing stuff we used to do back then. She always accepted, saying yes, but she never showed up. Sometimes she would cancel ahead, and sometimes I would wait for her for hours with her being a no-show. This really hurt me because we had a really close bond growing up, but I understood that she was hurting too. Dad had tried reaching out to her, but she didn't respond to him either. She wasn't that close to him, and I got that, but before, she used to at least try and make plans with him. The one time I managed to catch her at her house, she was blacked out drunk. I think she did drugs too, I'm not sure though. I was with her all night. I tried sobering her up, but she was way gone. So when she woke up, I helped her up, made her drink some coffee, and cooked some food for her to eat. There was barely anything in the fridge. The house was not a mess, so I didn't think that this was a regular thing. I tried talking to her after she sobered up, but she wasn't in the mood and just went back to sleep. I had work the next morning, so I had to leave too. So I left her a note telling her that I would be back tomorrow evening to check up on her. The next day, I showed up at her house, but there was no response. I rang the bell a couple of times, but I guess she was out. I called her and left her a few messages asking her to call back. I was getting worried about her, so I decided to talk to my dad about it. He said that he would go visit her and try to bring her back to our house. We tried our best to reach out to her, but she wasn't willing to respond. We couldn't help her because she didn't want to be helped. At this point, we could only pray that she would reach out to us first. 3 to 4 months passed, and I met my current ex-boyfriend. When we met back then, we were really attracted to each other. We met at a house party and got talking. He asked me out and I said yes. A month passed by and we had gone on a few dates. We really liked each other and decided to exclusively date. We soon got into a relationship. 8 months flew by, and to my surprise, my sister reached out to me and our dad, saying she wanted to talk. We were excited. After months of trying, she finally responded. My then-boyfriend was aware of the situation. He seemed supportive. Dad and I met up with her. She apologized for taking so long to reach out, and we told her it was okay and that we would be there for her. She didn't look too well. She had dark circles under her eyes, and her under eyes looked swollen too. She had lost a lot of weight, but she started visiting regularly. Our dad and I were very happy about it. We thought that she was moving towards a better life, and we were ready to help her with it. About 2 months after she reached out to us, she met my boyfriend. We were 10 months into our relationship. My boyfriend was happy to meet her. We soon started hanging out together. She would call him up sometimes, asking him to help her out with groceries and other house stuff. And I didn't really mind, after all, she was my sister. It was a Sunday, and I decided to surprise her with lunch. I had her keys with me because she had left them at my house. I decided to use it and directly enter her apartment. I could hear muffled voices inside, so I walked up to her room, but what I saw shook me to the core. There she was, hooking up with my boyfriend, and I stood there stunned, not knowing what to do. My sister was the last person I expected to betray me like this. I didn't even realize I had started crying. In my stupor, they realized I was there, and my ex scrambled to pick up his clothes. I still stood there like a dumb person. I wasn't even looking at him. I was looking at my sister because she hadn't moved. When she did look at me, she just smiled, and that was enough for me. I turned around and walked out. I wanted to slap her across the face and beat her up. I wanted to ask her why, but at that moment, I just wanted my grandma. My ex ran out, scrambling after me, begging me to wait, saying it was a mistake and it wasn't what it looked like. I couldn't take it anymore. I turned around and said, "We are over," if it wasn't already clear. Back then I was so smitten by him, so in love, but 2 of the most important people in my life had betrayed me. He betrayed me, and I didn't even know the reason why. I tried to calm myself and drove to my dad's house. The only good thing about today was that it was Sunday, and I knew he would be home. When he opened the door, I just fell into his arms, crying and babbling about what had happened. He hugged me tightly and took me inside, trying to settle me down, but it wasn't working. He just ended up rocking me for hours till I fell asleep. I didn't sleep for long, but when I woke up, he was still holding me. He made me drink water and sliced some fruit for me to eat. He waited patiently. When I felt I could talk, I told him what happened. I told him about me deciding to surprise her, and then her hooking up with my boyfriend. He was furious at both of them. He wanted to go confront them right then, but I started crying again, and he knew I needed him. A few days passed by. My phone was full of texts and calls from my ex. He wouldn't stop calling, even after I blocked him. He used other numbers to call me. My so-called sister hadn't called or texted me even once. I was heartbroken by both of them. When I tell you I didn't see it coming, I mean I really didn't see it coming. My friends showed up at my dad's house while I was still there and pulled me up. I did go to work, but nowhere else. They took me out to dinner and tried to take my mind off what had happened. I hadn't had a decent night in so long. The next day, my sister called. I didn't answer, so she texted my dad, telling him that she wanted to meet me. He informed me about it, but I told him clearly that I wanted nothing to do with her. Now that I think about it, she may have thought that I would take the bait, and a few days ago I may have agreed. But now the numbness had set in. As days went by, she started freaking out and calling 24/7. I didn't know what she wanted, from no calls to spamming me 24/7. It's a good thing I had a few different numbers. Nothing important or work-related was registered with that number, so I deactivated it. Finally, some peace. All I wanted was to move on from this. I didn't need to know why, who, or what they were thinking. I didn't need to. I didn't need anything from them. I was strong enough to move on with the support of my friends and father. I wasn't willing to even look at her or consider that she was my sister. I still remember that look on her face after I had caught them. There was no regret, not an ounce of guilt, and that was enough to push me on. She was sadistic, and he was a cheat. I wasn't going to give them power over me. She still wouldn't leave me alone, though. Since I wasn't at my place, she showed up at our father's place, screaming at him to open the door because he wouldn't let her in. It was late at night, and I honestly felt bad for him. I didn't want to make him choose. We were both his daughters, but she had ripped a piece out of me, and that was all I could think and feel about. I wasn't going to let her take my dad away from me, too. I could hear her outside, threatening to break down the door. The crazy. She had no one to lean on now. She eventually got tired and relented. She kept showing up, though. Dad and I were both getting stressed out, so he asked me if it was okay for him to talk to her on my behalf. I disagreed. I didn't want him talking to her. I wanted her to be alone and suffer the same heartbreak I did. Around 2 weeks pass, and I eventually agreed to let him talk to her, but not in the house. She was a pest, so he called her up and set a time. Who knew she was going to go crazy on him too? He told me that she started yelling and freaking out in a public place and that management had to get involved. He apologized and managed to convince them to let them stay. They warned her and left. He told me that she was very nervous and that she couldn't focus. She kept scratching and fidgeting all the time. He told her that I wasn't going to talk to her, so she might as well talk to him. My poor dad had no idea what she was going to throw at him. It turns out she wanted the inheritance money because she ran out of hers. Now she was broke, with no job and no money to spend on alcohol and drugs. She even asked him for money, but he declined. He did offer to admit her into rehab instead, and she burst out again. She told him that if I didn't agree to give her my share of the inheritance money, then she would marry my boyfriend. It looks like she didn't know that he was my ex now. I'm not taking him or her back. She forced my dad to call me and tell me. My dad was tired of trying to put some sense into her, so he gave in and very hesitantly explained the situation to me. I told him to face call me and to make sure she could see and hear me clearly. I looked her dead in the eye and smiled at her. I could see her face, and she was starting to get scared. I told her that I was not going to give her a penny from my inheritance. If she wanted to marry him, she could. I told her that he meant nothing to me, and neither did she, and her hung up. My dad came home and just hugged me. He didn't tell me about anything that happened after I hung up, and I couldn't get myself to care either. Update 1, 4 months later. A lot of you asking for an update on the situation. I thank all of you for your support. It means a lot to me right now. My ex is still trying to contact me. He has started sending chocolates and flowers to my dad's house, like that is going to help. Some of you have asked if he cheated on me multiple times with her, and no, he hasn't. I know this because he showed up at my dad's house and was practically screaming from the yard that it was only once and that it was a slip-up. Dad came home and chased him off our yard. He was going to get his hands on him, but he ran away. I don't know what is going on with my father's other daughter. She seems to be off the grid. Update 2 months later. She contacted my father about a month ago. Dad admitted her to rehab facility. I haven't visited or spoken to her. My ex still doesn't get the hint. I recently shifted workplaces, and somehow he found out too. He stopped showing up at the house, as I am still at my dad's, but he shows up at my workplace and waits for me to get off. No use, though. My friends drop me off or I drive myself, or he doesn't get to interact with me. NTA, NTA, NTA. If anyone is to blame, it's the alcohol and drugs, but the ex is a huge a-hole. Don't take him back, girl. It's so sad to see your bond crushed with not one but two people. My heart goes out to you. NTA. Prioritize yourself. They both should suffer the consequences of their actions. NTA. You tried your best, and she did you dirty. Your ex is a stalker, though. Be careful. Next story. I love horror movies and horror games and collecting memorabilia and stuff like that. It is all over my house. Freddy and zombie cutouts, big framed pictures of horror icons, posters, etc. I'm pretty much child-free. Girlfriend knows this. I've been with my girlfriend a little less than a year. She's very involved in her nieces' and nephews' lives, babysits them often, and has them stay overnight with her. My girlfriend's family was having a birthday party for her aunt, and she asked if they could have it at my house since I have a pool, and she thought it'd be a nice time for me to meet the rest of her family. I agreed. All the kids are under the age of 10, so I moved the big stuff, like cutouts and items hanging on walls, into my spare room. My Chucky and Tiffany dolls included because my cats like to roam. I don't close any doors except my office. Kids still found the dolls and other stuff and were terrified. Girlfriend says I should have put it all in the garage and locked the door. The day after, my girlfriend and her sisters came over to tell me the kids had had nightmares. She also said that if I'm serious about her, I should redecorate my house anyway to make it more child-friendly so she can have her family over without scaring them. I pretty much laughed and told her no. That's a pretty big ask this early in the relationship, and I'm child-free. I don't mind kids coming over once in a while or being around them, but I don't want them to become regular guests at my house. I told them that they should teach the kids better to not go poking around in other people's houses without permission. Her sisters got upset and said I should have closed all the doors in my house if I knew scary things were in the rooms. And my girlfriend says I'm being an a-hole for not redecorating so she can spend time with me and the kids at the same time. So am I the a-hole here? NTA. You did them a favor by letting them come over, and you put the scary stuff away. Your girlfriend knew the decor and should have warned her family if needed. She is being controlling and trying to change you. See the red flag? NTA. It's your house. I do think you need to set hard boundaries with your girlfriend if you're serious about this relationship, though. It's nice of you to put the scary stuff away when the kids come over, though you should have definitely shut the door to the spare room, but I think she's expecting you to get rid of it entirely, aka asking you to change a fundamental part of who you are. Her sisters have some audacity getting offended at you wanting the kids to learn where not to go in someone else's house. Next story. I've been with my wife for over 20 years. She had 2 daughters from her previous marriage, and we also have a son together. My wife has always insisted that I stay out of the parenting. When the girls were young, I tried to take them on a walk without her, and she was furious, and since then, I've never tried to be involved. I'm the breadwinner, and she's a stay-at-home mom. It's come to my attention that my wife plays favorites with our family and doesn't actually treat her 2 daughters the same as our son. We have recently fallen out about it, and she has told me that she is the parent and knows what she's doing. So I want to ask, ITA for noticing these things and pointing them out? I've just realized that the girls are feeling quite neglected. All 3 children are now adults, all in their 20s. We take my son on holidays and don't invite my daughters at all. My wife is telling the daughters to spend time with their friends over Christmas rather than come home. My wife insisted my son needed a car, so we bought him one, but when her daughters needed cars, she was silent. Our financial position has always been the same. She then lied to the daughters and said this was a loan to the son. She cooks foods the daughters don't like and just says tough, whereas makes a special dinner every night for my son. She stirs trouble between the siblings and pits them against one another. She plays favorites and pretends to be each of their best friends, but then gossips behind their backs with the other siblings. She seems to sabotage the daughters by not giving them the correct instructions for something, then waiting for them to come to her crying as they were unable to do something. But the reason they couldn't do it is because of insufficient instructions. AITA for pointing out that these things aren't really what family is all about. I've only just noticed this is all going on, and she's telling me to stay out of it. It's causing tension between us. ITA here, Esh. Your wife is a huge a-hole, no question. Those poor kids. is probably a combination of seismic and associating her daughters with their father. Also, she's a stay-at-home mom to adults in their 20s, but in 20-plus years, you didn't realize this was going on? You tried to take the kids for a walk once. She said no, and you just said okay. This is how a relationship should go. I shouldn't be able to do anything with my stepdaughters at all. You absolutely let your son get favorites for 20 years. Esh. You are a parent, whether you or your wife like it or not. You accepted the role when you married a woman with children, so for you to just stay out of it is unacceptable. But for your wife to try and make it so you can't parent is just dumb. Also, the way you describe how she treats her own children is disturbing and possibly abusive. Your children should never be set up for failure or talked about by their own mom, not to mention all the other things you listed. If you want a relationship with those girls after they are adults and find their own way, then you should work to rectify things immediately.